G'day. We are digesting a beer with a very fun label called Rockstar Farmer, a collaboration between Stillwater and Other Half, the cool new brewery in New York City. But this one was made in Denver, Colorado by Crazy Mountain Brewing, who has been doing a lot of the really interesting beers from Omnipolo lately. This one is described on the label as a farmhouse session IPA. And I looked up a little bit online, and it looks like it's some kind of really hoppy saison with Brettanomyces. I'm not sure if it's bottle conditioned with Brett or anything. I feel like it was incorporated earlier in the process because with these really hoppy beers that have Brett involved, I kind of like to have them when the hops are still a little bit fresh. And this one was released definitely well under a month ago. I think from what I deduced, March 20th, and now it's like April 6th. So that's pretty fresh, especially for a beer that could age and stay pretty good with the Brettanomyces. But I've noticed with a lot of the really hoppy Brett beers, I don't like them too much after a while if they're insanely bitter. If they're not too bitter, then you don't get, and also not too dry hop, then you don't get that super old hop thing and super bitter thing happening. And the Brettanomyces will take over and make it into a still pleasant beer. Oh, my stuff is sagging. There we go, that might be better. And this one's 4.5% alcohol. They didn't say anything about the hops that are in it. But I don't know if I've had anything that's a so-called like farmhouse kind of Belgian IPA with Brett that's low alcohol before. And it sounds exactly up my alley. Ooh, interesting color. It's really, really pale, but has some kind of a coppery, reddish hue to it, though, even though it's really pale. It looks kind of reddish to you, but it has this, I don't know, on the camera it looks kind of gray a little bit. But it's not the normal super bright pink, or not pink, super bright yellow that you see in really pale IPAs. Wonder how it got that color. It's not oak aged or anything. Ooh, well that's pretty nice aroma. It's really it's got that bubble gummy Belgian IPA thing going on, but then some Brettanomyces chalky, slightly hay, slightly funky thing going on in the aroma, like aspirin-y. And very, very flowery, like flower, a field of wildflowers, near the petting zoo. But not too much petting zoo with this one from the Brett. Yeah, the saison yeast, juicy fruit sort of yeast aroma is still pretty strong. The hops are, I don't know, must be melding into that Brett yeast and Belgian yeast aroma, because I'm not getting much currently. I think it's just bringing out more of a fresh, bright, fruity juiciness. It smells really good. It's almost a little too bubblegummy, sort of juicy fruit gum, but I'm betting it's really dry and refreshing. Ooh, peppery, very light-bodied. Peppery, a little bit of that chalky aspirin in the finish. The Brett's not too intense and leathery quite yet. And with just a light, sweet, kind of banana, juicy fruit, yeasty finish. But it's pretty quick. But on the tongue, it's just all pepper and very light, like, resinous, chalky hops too. I notice that sometimes hops, especially in the session IPA category, can have this chalky kind of a, what do I say, Smarties sort of fruitiness to it. That's still pretty dry in a similar way that Brettanomyces adds a kind of chalky aspirin yet tropical fruitiness to it. And that's what happens on the tongue. It dries out a lot. And then there's kind of a fruitiness that comes back while it lingers. But it's a lot drier and more refreshing and not sweet like the aroma seems to do. And I'm surprised that it's pretty well bottle conditioned. Medium high carbonation, tiny bubbles, because these Brett beers can sometimes be real carbonated or be flat or have lots of chunks. And that head's really nice too. It's just a little bit thinner than an IPA or a really intensely carbonated Brett beer. I think it works really well. Yeah, straw, a little bit of wicker chair, black tea, very slight lemon tea thing, but it's not quite tart. But just the way the Brett makes it super dry and the lower alcohol, it makes it seem slightly tart, but there's no lactobacillus or anything, or even I don't think there's any acetic acid in this. The vinegary acid that Brettanomyces makes, when it ferments in oxygen environments. My shit's tipping over. Uh-oh. This is horrible. I have to get a new stand. That's still pretty bad. Sorry. I think this is kind of funny though. And maybe I'll leave it in. But this is a very, very nice beer. I mean, being like $12 for a bomber is a little steep. This is something that I wish breweries would figure out how to release in 6-pack cans in some way. Especially because this is something that I would like to return to a lot. You know, in the summer, I can imagine. It is a little bit bitter. But I think it's from all the Brettanomyces and hops. And I'm probably just going to close down this review. Got us do it now. So, since my shit's falling apart. So, other half. Maybe you can get a cool shot of this. Other half's Rockstar Farmer. I'll give it an 8. 82. Yeah, it looks really weird on there. How about an 82? Goodbye.